Yes, Board President, as I stated earlier, to make this as efficient as possible. This school would have been on consent, save the overallocation invoice that was sent, as I've shared in response to the Board Vice President's question.
Explain what overallocation means to everyone.
So in the materials, there's information regarding an overallocation reimbursement sent by the district.
What does that mean, overallocation reimbursement?
The public may be familiar with Proposition 39, Education Code 47614, which in short requires districts to, if a charter school submits a legally sufficient request, provide space that's reasonably equivalent to what students that are attending the traditional schools would receive.
So it's an equity issue in state law. I'm just going to try to summarize because some of the words, I don't know that all parents are familiar with Prop 39 and all of the requirements. So I'll try to summarize.
If you meet criteria, public school space for public school students, whether you're at a traditional school or a charter school, by law.
Right.
Voters passed
and
in 2000.
And the public school district must accommodate in that area.
Yes.
Called the LEA or whatever.
And the law, it doesn't say available space. It actually says share all space fairly. So that's an important clarification. Now, embedded in the law are regulations, and part of this is you make a request for space that you intend to use. And if you say, I'm going to serve 200 students, and we're talking about in-district students, okay, and you end up serving many fewer than that, then there's a state formula that needs to be applied, which would be called you're over-allocated the space and you need to reimburse. Now, the law, please.
I'm just trying to make it simple.
Sure.
So in other words, I run a charter school to share space, you said.
Yes.
And so the charter school would say, hey, we think we're going to have this much space needs next year. Then space available we'd have to accommodate, and we base our program and our setup on that, which costs money. Am I right so far?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm just trying
No,
to
we're just getting a sketch.
down.
And if we want more technical, Mr. Holmquist can certainly
No,
chime
I
in.
want the people.
Yeah. So then, once the attendance is reported, there's a process. And charter schools are also obligated to self-report that they're overallocated. Then there's a formula based on a state amount that would be applied for a reimbursement.
And what's the law say, I guess, then?
In essence, that, if you have excess space than what you plan to, you need to apply the formula to then pay the amount to reimburse the district for that overallocation. It's, in a sense, a way to cause some equity also. Don't ask for more than you need because there could be other uses for that in that year. Okay?
Kind of need or use.
Correct.
Okay.
So the law actually requires charter schools not only self-report but to reimburse proactively. The district, has a process and well, obviously a lot of lessons learned now to ensure that charter schools, besides the information they receive in their final offers, their facilities use agreements, alternative agreements, preliminary proposals that indicates their obligations in this area. The superintendent, under his leadership, has wanted to make sure we continue to improve the process so that way stakeholders are clearly informed.
I now, though, interject something historically. In 2016, Board Member Mr. Bennett Kayser made a motion to say we need to rectify this proactively.
It was a few years prior to that.
Okay, so 214.
Then there was then the board at that time deferred it for a couple years.
To 216.
And then there was a court case actually in like 15, 16 with
What-
the
what
California.
year
Okay, I
was
just
the-
wanted to say this was, let him give the timeline and then we can all
Jose,
disagree.
could you say what specific year was the Board Member Kaiser resolution?
I believe that was 11-12.
Okay.
And what did it say?
The resolution indicated a process. Well, first of all, it identified the overallocation issue, right, in general terms, and then it indicated a process by which those would be that would be collected, and it deferred it for a couple years.
So,
And I was a second to that motion because we had discovered that we hadn't been collecting things, we hadn't been keeping records, and so Mr. Kaiser asked me to join him because we wanted to rectify that proactively rather than penalizing any of the charters retroactively.
So-
So this was an attempt to address that issue, and I thought it was done.
So that was 2012, Jose. Sorry, is it okay, Dr. Vladovic?
Yeah, go ahead.
That was 2012, and it deferred it to 2014. So now it's 2019, almost 2020. What's been happening? Where's that money? What's the process?